So good morning everyone, I'm very pleased to have Stevie with me again this morning, and we're going to do the second Tiverton Town Walk. I hope you've all watched the first one by now. If you haven't, a slap on the wrist. And we've got an exciting little walk for you this morning because we're going to go up through St Peter's Street, which is one of the two streets we're going to feature today, and look at St Peter's Church, Tiverton Castle, and we're going to end up at the Workhouse. So lead on.
St Peter's Street is where the merchants lived in the main. They're very tall houses, 3 levels at the least. And there's some interesting properties up here.
And you can see the church spires there in the distance. It's kind of nice, isn't it?
Yes.
Lovely view of the church.
A beautiful church. It's got a lot of history again. We're coming to the right to Aimery House. Aimery House.
Morning, morning.
Morning to you.
Actually just been sold.
Just been sold.
Yes.
Well, it's got a grand facade, isn't it?
Yes. It's a beautiful house.
It is.
It was built before the Aimerys took it on. But it's a beautiful building. Look at the stonework.
Yeah, the stonework's amazing, isn't it? And it's got cellars, and it's also got, one wonders if there's anything up in the roof. There's no windows up there, are there? So
no, I don't think
probably
so. It
not.
would be a grand house.
Yes.
You can imagine a merchant living in there.
Yeah, absolutely can. A lovely ornate doorway.
Yes.
It's wonderful. Okay. Someone's got some pans for sale.
Yes, it's interesting when you go around Tiverton that you find egg poachers.
I'm just going to take a shot of these pans for sale. I can't see. There they are.
Toys for children.
Toys for
books.
children. Yeah. There we go. Anybody wants these pots and pans, send me an email and I'll pass on the information.
This York House was a theatre.
York House was a theatre. Wow. I love the railings.
Yes. They weren't taken down.
And the Lion's Head door knocker is lovely, isn't it?
Yes.
Number 24 York House. Yeah.
Downstairs, the steps down to the. But these are all big houses were all merchants' homes
They're all merchants' houses, yeah.
on the right.
Again, they're very grand, very,
Yes. They were grand. Look at the ornate.
look at the ornate friezes. Would you call that a frieze? You can- It's like they're retarring the
Yes.
pavements here.
Imagine living down there.
Oh wow.
Servants' quarters, I think.
Servants'
it would be.
quarters. Absolutely. Let me
I
just.
wouldn't want to go down there having had a pint of cider.
Down into the abyss.
Beautiful cobbled.
Lovely cobbled floor, yeah. You'd need some sort of candlelight or lamps down there, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Wow. That's quite something. You can't walk on the pavement here, as you can see it's been tarred, and it's quite a busy street. Crossover again, and here we are.
Beautiful merchant's house.
Another beautiful merchant's house. They're really very grand, aren't they? I mean, we said on the first one, the wealth created by the cloth and the lace making back in that period was just phenomenal, wasn't it?
These houses are Georgian here,
These are Georgian houses.
and John Heathcote lived in 50.
John Heathcote lived in number 50.
First came to Tiverton.
I just love this this tree, and we've got a blue plaque here somewhere.
Yes,
There he is.
right behind the.
It's right behind. Can't quite see it, but
Can't see it.
it's all right. They should move it,
That was
perhaps,
his
shouldn't they?
first home.
That was
when
his
he-
first home.
when he came to
You just
Tiverton in 1860.
wonderful house, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so we're coming up to St Peter's Church now, and we had a lot of panels, information panels on the first video, but we've only got one on this walk.
Yes.
But Stevie's going to take us through it when we get round.
Again, to your right, smaller merchants' houses.
Smaller merchants' houses on the right, and I like the fact they've exposed the brick again, which is
It's
brings the
lovely.
character back, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, here we have a panel. See
Again,
if I can get.
which shows we're in front of the parish church,
Yes,
and the royal arms of Princess Catherine should be a C, not a K,
should be a C, not a K. Okay.
on the south port of St Peter's.
Yes.
And the castle, which is next door
Right next door. Yes.
from the early 1100s. Tiverton was one of the many manors held by the de Revers and the Courtenay family.
Right. The Reavers. Yeah. Is it?
De Reeve,
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's a connection to the Reavers
Yes.
in Exeter, isn't there?
yes, and the Courtenay.
Yeah.
It was to the first is attributed the original Moat and Bailey fort.
It's hard to believe that the original
Yes.
castle was built in the 11th century,
I know.
isn't it?
Yes.
Really?
Monday markets and annual fairs. You could only hold a fair or a market in the
Yes.
town if the king or the monarch gave the permission.
They had to give permission.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Absolute power of the monarchy, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And it shows the sheep, which were so important.
The main resource, yes.
Yes, the main resort.
Yeah.
And in St Peter's Church there's a lovely thing, I would call it, a tablet.
Sculpture, tablet,
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, of
Tablet, yes.
of the lion and the unicorn.
Okay.
Because it was a borough, of course.
Of course,
Tiverton
yes.
is
It was a borough,
is
royal borough, yes, that's right.
It's a royal borough.
Yeah, yeah. We've got some noise here,
Yes.
so we're going to go round, I think, because the workmen.
Can I just mention the wall chapel?
Yes.
Which is on the corner.
We're going to get a shot of that.
Yes.
That was the original trading area where they traded the wool.
The centre of the local trade of wool.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was eventually it was the Lamb Inn.
The lamp, so it was turned into a pub. Yeah, okay. All right, we're just going to let those guys go by.
It's a great day when
Yeah,
they're
we'll
doing
pick,
the pavement.
picked a really good day here to do the pavement. We're going to get around the side of them. So we can see the lamb up there on the top of the building, and you say it was one of the trading halls.
Yes, it was the trading.
Where the wool traders came in, brought the wool in, and they traded it and sold it. Yeah, and then eventually it turned into the Lamb Inn, which is kind of appropriate, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So a lovely shot of the church, which we're going to go into in a moment. Absolutely beautiful church.
There was originally a row of cottages here in front of us.
A row of cottages, yes. Of course, this would have been all farmland
Yes.
next to the castle and the church, I presume,
Yes.
or small settlements, or
Well, it would have been settlements to maintain the castle.
to maintain the castle, of course.
Servants would be
Yeah.
living in them,
Yeah,
kinsmen.
kinsman. Now I have to point out this structure here on the right in a moment, because I've done some research on this, and there's unreliable proof that this is the finest example of medieval bus stop in the
Yes.
country.
Absolutely. The buses would stop.
The buses would stop in medieval times here
Yes.
to
Imagine
pick people
getting
up.
on it with your fleeces, and your farmers would come in it.
I mean,
Yes.
it's quite extraordinary, really, when you think about it. I mean, why would they go to the trouble of building such a lovely structure? I guess it's in keeping with the church and the castle to
Yes,
some extent.
But buses don't go that way.
Buses don't even stop there anymore.
Yes, it's a beautiful building.
It is. It is. I'm sure if we dismantled it and sent it over to California, we could
Yeah.
get a fortune for it, don't you think?
Oh, let's do it.
Right, we're going to go around the front of the castle first.
Please take care when you walk round to the castle, because it's quite a narrow pavement.
Yes.
It's a busy road.
There's Stevie's health and safety warning for you if you get down to Tiverton at any point.
Tiverton Castle is open on Thursday afternoons and Sunday afternoons.
Right.
Easter Sunday to the end of October.
You know, when I first walked past it, I was a bit disappointed. I thought, what, no portcullis, no drawbridge, no moat?
There would have been a moat.
There would have been a moat. All right. But a very fine door.
Do you remember on the placard it said Moat and Bailey?
Moat and Bailey, that's right. So where would the moat have been then? You're going to show us?
Here. Well, I
Just
don't know.
they're around here. Okay.
It would have been round here.
Yeah. So later on, it was more or less converted into a
Yes.
country house, wasn't it?
You can imagine the royalists storming the building.
You can, can't you?
And they were safely enclosed in it, and then the Roundheads came along and took it. It must have been violent fighting here.
So it's seen
in
some
the
conflict
Civil
in its
War.
time, hasn't it?
Yes, especially in the Civil War.
In the English Civil War, yeah. So if we walk back round to the church now, we can see the older part of the castle, can't we?
Yes. It's well worth a visit.
Well worth a visit. Here's the bus stop again.
And you can see the old.
Now you can start to see the real castle. That turret is phenomenal, isn't it? And we'll see more of it as we
go up it,
as we go down.
up the tower.
You can you?
Yes.
Oh wow.
And this would have been in front of you, to your right. It would have been the actual castle.
Yes. So this dates really back to its earliest times.
Absolutely.
And it is still very impressive, isn't it?
Yes.
And of course it was built in such a vantage point. When we get down to the bottom, you
Yes.
can see that it actually has a commanding view over the Exe Valley. So it would have been quite strategic, wouldn't it?
It would have stood by the River Exe, which would be access
Yes.
far greater than road.
Yes. Looks like they're trying to kind of stop the walls falling down, but you can see the holes where the different floor levels were, where the beams would have been.
In front of us was the kitchens.
The kitchens, yes, yeah. It's gorgeous.
And of course there's another ruined
that
tower here.
might be. Would that be it could be the oldest part of the castle, or perhaps it's the same age as that part.
Same age,
Yeah,
I think.
but it's again a lovely tower, and
You can see where the windows were.
you can see where the windows were. Yes.
They must have had money to put windows in.
Yeah. What a fantastic building it must have been when it was in its glory.
And of course the river is just down here.
The river's just down there. That's right. So
It would have been far greater. They would have probably come almost lapping to the.
yes, and
to
that also would have been the
edge.
source of water for to
yes.
fill the moat, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's very well thought out.
Well, not actually, because the moat was had its water from the Leat.
Oh, it did. Okay, which we're going to have a look at.
Yes, which starts at a common way up out of Tiverton, and in the 1200s it was brought down through the town to feed the moat.
That was the purpose of it. We're going to have a look at that in a moment,
Yes.
which is I think Tiverton's most interesting street in many ways. Now we've got something else to look at in this church too, don't we?
We've got a couple of things actually. If you walk around the churchyard, you will find the tomb to John Heathcote
John Heathcote,
and
who-
his family.
who we talked about a lot in the first video of being and here it is. Here it is.
Yes.
And
His wife was called Anne, and his daughter was called Anne with an E.
okay.
Anne and Samuel did a lot for the town.
Wow.
She was only 26.
26 years old, and John Heathcote was 54, which is
No,
77.
he was 77. His wife was 54.
Yes, okay. So he had a really quite a good long life for in those days. Life expectancy
Yes.
wasn't great, was it?
And there's also daughter of the bub who died. She was not married,
Okay.
Eloise.
You know, considering he was such an important industrialist for this town, not in that great condition, is it?
No, because Eloise was the last surviving daughter of the above.
Okay. See, that's already becoming unreadable, isn't it?
Yes. It's a lovely statue.
Yeah. Needs a bit of TLC though, don't you think?
Yes.
Considering how important a figure he was for Tiverton.
Yes.
Okay.
The rest of the family are buried in the village outside Tiverton.
Okay.
and we won't go there, but the other side of the church.
We can walk down the side of the church that way.
There used to be a bridge. You used to take a shortcut to the factory from the workers.
Really?
And apparently the school children used it as well.
Did they?
To come up to the dentist.
Right.
Which is
It's just over the road there.
Street, and the doctor's surgery is in Clare House. But it was swept away in the...
Ah! I was hoping we were going to get the chimes. Normal service will be resumed in a moment. Because it's 11 o'clock, that's 11 chimes. Going on forever.
It's lovely.
So it chimes on the quarter hour.
And it goes all night.
It goes all night. Okay.
The river is still to our right.
Yes. Stevie, turn and face. Just give me that again.
The bridge was swept away in the early 1960s.
1960s.
And it was never replaced.
Never replaced.
No.
Right.
So they must have missed it.
Again, we've got a lovely door here, haven't we? Hey?
There was obviously statues.
Yes.
They,
Again, statues in those recesses and a lovely stained glass window up there.
yes.
You really get a sense of the grandeur of it. And you've got gargoyles and all sorts at the top there. It's not even the main, not even the main door, is it?
You have to be very careful in the churchyard again because of the cobbles.
The cobbled stones, yes, yeah.
The bridge was over there.
Bridge is over there, okay.
Where the house is. Here you start seeing the ships.
Aha.
They're very important ships.
Yep, and there's several of them all around. It looks like they've completely cleaned up the front of this facade. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh, there's the ships up there. You can see them. Okay, look at how ornate that is. We can get in a bit closer.
Yes.
There's a lot of symbolism here of Tiverton's history, and cleaning this facade must have been quite a job because it's so intricate at the top.
Yes.
I'm going to just go back a bit further. Try and get a good shot of this wonderful frontage. Marvellous. Pop over here, Stevie. And getting a reasonably good shot of the frontage here. It's absolutely marvellous, isn't it? Look at it.
When you look at the ships,
When you look at the ships, yeah, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 there.
first one
First one.
was a row barge,
First one was a row barge. Oh, you can see that. There's no sails.
which protected the ships carrying the fleeces.
So it's like an armed
they're cozy.
armed support or something like
Yes.
that, yeah? Then you've got the sailing ship,
Number 2
yeah.
is a galleass,
A galleass, okay. That's lovely.
which had and
Number 3, which is
3.
slightly, got more sails on it.
yes, it was a galleon,
That was a galleon,
yes,
yeah.
and
Similarly on the next one,
yes,
looks like the same.
and a galleon had 2 castles, one each end.
Yes, yes, that's right.
But when you see the third one, if you can look at the third
Let's look
one,
back to the third one again.
you can see though it was rowed as well, so it was faster.
So it was rowed as well, yes, okay.
It was rowed as well as
Yeah, it's longer, not so tall.
yes, you
So
can see it, the difference.
There would have been oarsmen in there as well as it under
Yes.
sail. Fantastic. So
and that's a beautiful galleon, isn't it? In
It
the
is,
middle
it
on the
is.
second bit.
yes, it is, isn't it? Wow, they are fantastic, aren't they?
Yes, and it shows how important the town felt it was. And we're standing in front of John Greenway's chapel.
This is John Greenway's chapel.
Yes.
Now we featured the almshouses of John Greenway in the first video, didn't we?
Yes.
And again, it just shows how important him and the other merchants were
yes.
to bringing the wealth that they were generating through their industry to the town and to the people of the
Yes.
town.
Yes, it's very important.
Absolutely
Very important.
marvellous.
He built it in his lifetime.
Yeah.
But it's well worth going in. If you go into the church, it's on the first door on your right hand side, and it's a beautiful, it's got tombs for John and his wife.
Tombs to Sir John and his
Yes,
wife, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
He died first, but he died 2 years after Princess Catherine,
Okay.
who is also buried in this church, because Princess Catherine, with a C, was a daughter of Edward IV and and Elizabeth Woodville.
Okay.
She married William Courtenay,
Quarterly.
and they lived here. The family lived here before they moved to and built Powderham Castle.
Oh, they built Powderham Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere
and
I
they
might.
still live there.
They still live there. Yeah.
It's a lovely place.
It is a
So
lovely
there's
place.
lots of history.
Down on the ex-estuary. Yes.
Yes.
Might get there at some point.
When she died, they said Tiverton didn't see anything like it because she was royalty.
Royalty. Yes.
Her sister was married to Henry VII,
Okay.
who was mother of Henry VIII.
Yes.
So she was a very important member of the family, and they came here to her funeral, and she was buried in the Courtenay chapel, which is no longer.
So you pronounce it Quarterly.
Courtenay.
Quarterly. They all say Courtneys around
Yes,
here, don't they?
I think the E was removed, but I
Was it?
heard it on television the other night, and they said Courtenay
Right.
or Courtenay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's got the E in.
Okay.
And I think the modern Courtenay probably has removed.
Yeah, there's a little pub along the road here we're going to pass in a moment, which is
Yes.
Courtney's, yes. Or
Yes.
Courtleys, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so shall we go out through that gate? Can we
Yes.
get out that way?
Can we get out?
Or should we go back around this way?
I-
Might be best to go back the way we came in.
yes, because we're
Yeah. I don't want to get stuck in the tarmac on the pavements.
No, it's typical, isn't it? That you choose a day when they're working
Yes.
on it. There's lots of lovely stained glass windows.
Yes, you
and
can see that, yeah. Yeah, and there's
trees.
still more renovation to be
Yes.
done here. Look at this. Again, you've got ships there as
Yes,
well, haven't you?
yeah.
And a rather ugly looking gargoyle at the bottom,
Yes,
protecting.
protecting, weren't
Yeah.
they? And there's quite a lot of monkeys
quite a lot of
well.
monkeys.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But
they're-
that wall is very important. Look at the
Yes.
coat of arms and
It's
things.
just full of detail, isn't it? Just
Yes.
you know, and the coat of arms, as you say, underneath the window there. Absolutely fantastic.
There's lots more to find out, but we'll
Yeah.
leave it for you to find
Yes. Yep. Come and visit if you can.
out. Yes.
Is the
If you come on a Thursday, you can do the castle.
do
as
the
well.
castle as well. Yes.
Or on Sunday, you can go to the service there, and then you can go and visit the castle in the afternoon.
Yes. So we've got a lovely avenue of trees here,
Yes.
And the cobbled.
they're very old.
and then the castle in front of us. It's kind of
Yes.
lovely, isn't it? It's a lovely juxtaposition between
Yes.
the two buildings.
Probably on purpose,
Yes.
because they would have worshipped in the church.
Right, we're going to swing around here now and head to our next street, which is fascinating. And it's been fascinating to me
Yes.
ever since I've been here. It's kind of a cool morning this morning, a bit
Yes.
cooler than the other day. We don't have much sun, but
No. I hoped the sun would show its face, but
No. Still it's dry, and that's the important thing. Wet tar indeed. No. We're passing the trading hall again, and now we're into Newport Street.
Yes.
Pardon? Coffee morning at the Baptist Church.
Yes.
Morning.
Free soup and roll. Yes, sorry.
Free lunch on the go.
Yeah. They do very good lunches there
Do they?
on a Thursday.
So this is Courtney's. There's the name that we've been using, Courtney's, and this is Courtney's Real Ale Pub. And very nice it is too.
Very good.
Yeah, very. It's well known, well established. It's quite small,
Yes.
but so here we are at Castle Street, and straight away you can see that these people have decided to re-expose the walls
Yeah.
and the brickwork, and that's so lovely to see. Okay.
The Leet is important to the town, or was important to the town. Actually, it's not running now, which is a shame.
Why is that then? Why did they stop the water coming down
Well,
here
they said because of the work that's needed to maintain
to maintain it? So the water used to come down through
Yes,
here,
through here,
right?
and it gave fresh water to the town very early,
Yes.
which would have been wonderful. And they say that the Countess, brought the Leet into the town to feed the people.
So this is coming from the Lomond River rather than the Exe.
No,
Do you know
it's
for sure?
coming
From the Exe.
It's coming from a spring.
It's coming from a spring.
Yes.
Ah,
Right out of Tiverton. They do beating the bounds of the Leet every 7 years.
I'd heard of
Did
that.
it last time.
I missed it the last time. Now what have we got here?
So it's well worth doing that, but it's a very steep climb. there's an interesting little path here, which is the hit and or miss alley.
Hit or miss alley.
Yes. Later hippopotamus court. Why hippopotamus? I don't know. Ancient tilt yard of the castle garrison.
Wow. So explain all that to me. It was an ancient tilt yard.
Yes.
We think of the word tilt as being slightly offset or off centre, don't we?
Yes. But I think that was for jousting, wasn't it? Tilt.
Oh, perhaps it was.
I don't know. I don't actually. Well, another thing for
to find out.
the visitor to find out.
And what's down the end of the it's just a private house now, is
it's a dentist.
Okay. Okay.
But it fascinated me.
Yeah.
So, and it's used by a lot of people.
So the Tiverton Civic Society.
So they hold meetings once a month, don't they, with the speakers, and they're very good.
Have you been to any of their meetings or not? Or
no, we were going to go last year, but unfortunately
we all got cancelled, of course. Yeah.
Church House was Masonic Hall now.
Yes. So that wasn't a Masonic hall originally. It was a church building, was it?
Yes, it was the church house.
Okay. There it is.
No, I think this was the church house. Actually, I'm wrong.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
the grey one.
That's the church house.
The grey one.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a lovely house, isn't it? My goodness. Yeah, you can see again wonderful doorway and
lovely windows.
Lovely windows, yeah. Yeah, that is a beautiful house, isn't it? Yeah.
You can imagine the people living in this street coming out to fill in their buckets.
So they've got a fresh water supply right outside their front doors.
It goes underground then.
It goes underground,
and
yeah.
then reappears down through the market.
Yes.
At the other end of the market, a little bit comes in the town.
So this ceremony every 7 years, do they actually let the water run once every 7 years?
Well, I've walked it and it was running then. And
is there some sort of valve or sluice up there somewhere? Is there?
It's a spring.
Yes, but
it's a spring.
They can obviously cut it off though. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And pupils chosen from Blundell School.
Right.
Beat at every bridge.
So
beat it and sing a song.
Sing a song, right? So I guess it's got a pagan origin, is it?
Well, it's because
or is it Christian, pseudo-Christian, or is it pagan?
Christian, I think, because the Countess, they were to keep it open.
Yes.
Every 7 years, they have to walk it.
To walk it.
And do the ceremony.
To
keep it open. Because the traditions is that it has to take place once every 7 years.
7 years. When's the next one, do you know? Must be coming up soon now.
Oh, no.
Got a while, is it?
A few years.
Yeah, okay. Just stick it in my diary.
The wall would have been round the castle, the wall there, you know.
Is that part of the original castle wall,
yes.
do you think? It looks like it might have been, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's just one of Tiverton's very interesting streets.
Now you're going to come round the corner and into Silver Street.
Into Silver Street,
There's nothing really interesting in Silver Street, but it must have been important
at the time.
The merchants, Silver Street, Gold Street.
You were saying any town that's got silver and gold streets generally were identified as people with who were worked in the original guilds.
The merchants.
The merchants and the guilds, the guildsmiths.
John Greenway is important because he was able to send his goods out of London.
Yes.
And he could afford his own ships.
Amazing, yes.
And he had his own seal And there's some controversy about whether he had a coat of arms or not.
Right. They weren't given out
No.
casually, were they?
But it was important to have his seal on it, so
Yes.
it proved it was his goods.
Yes. Kind of the early forerunner of trademarking in a way, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was their trademark.
Yeah. Yeah.
There would have been another pub up here, which is the Tiverton House, the Bampton Inn.
The Bampton Inn. Good morning.
It's called the New Bampton Inn. So
The new-
perhaps there was an old one.
Perhaps there was an old Tiverton Inn. Yeah. So we're heading towards our last point of interest now, which is just down this street here, Belmont Road. And I walked past this garage a couple of times and it says something about steam on the front, which I find interesting. It says yeah, apparently he does plumbing and heating and industrial steam. So
Yes, that's interesting, isn't it?
probably not steam engines though,
No,
probably.
I was just thinking steam
Where do they still
engines.
use steam these days in industrial processes? I don't know.
Wow. There's so many beautiful engine houses throughout the country.
There are,
Look at the canals.
yes. Well, on my canal walk, I talk a little bit about the Exe Valley Railway and the beaching cuts and all of that,
Yes.
and the fact that Dr. Beaching was kind of vilified by everybody because he chopped 4,000 miles of
Did you go
line.
up to the viaduct?
yes, yeah,
And Brunel wanted a two-rail railway, didn't he?
he did, yes, he did, and he did the atmospheric railway goes down through
Yes.
Starcross and Dawlish,
Yes.
which actually didn't work. Did it? Well,
No.
it worked theoretically, didn't work really well in practice. But as we said, John Heathcote was right up there in terms of great industrialists of this
Yes.
country. Well,
Because they used to bring water lilies down the canal to the basin,
did
and
they?
then they'd transport them to the trains.
Yes.
And don't forget, the only reason that they kept the canal in Devon, because they filled it in Somerset,
Yes.
was to feed the water to the engines.
Okay. All right.
Right.
No, I didn't pick that up on my canal walk. Thank you for that. That's an added bit of interesting memorabilia.
The only reason they kept it, and it's now a lovely country park.
Oh, it is. I've done.
It's a good 11 miles
It
to
is.
walk,
It is.
but it's very interesting. And at the top, it just stops.
It does. It's landlocked, as you say. So this is the Tiverton Workhouse, and it was built in 1837 for 400 inmates. They're described as inmates, and I think to myself,
Poor
my
people.
goodness, they were incarcerated, essentially.
It was derelict when I came to live in Tiverton,
Was it?
and 9 years ago.
Right.
But they've sympathetically restored it
They have. They have.
and sold it off as flats
They have.
and houses.
They have, and they've
And
done
they
it.
built the houses round it, but they're sympathetic with
It's-
the structure of
it's
the
beautifully done.
beautiful building.
It's beautifully done. It really is. And as you say, the modern housing that's been built around it kind of, I don't know, kind of frames it a little bit, gives it
Yes.
makes it more part of the community
Yes.
in a way. So we're going to go round to the front of the building. Now, these workhouses, the whole thing traces back to the Poor Act in 1388.
Yes.
Yeah, which can you really believe it? 1388.
Yes.
And
That far back.
there's a reference here that brings us right up to date, because what they attempted to do was address the labour shortages at the time because of the Black Death. The Black Death wiped out so many people that they were short of labourers. And what do we have right now?
Yes.
Today's version of the Black
Yes.
Death.
Yes.
And so they restricted the movement of labourers, according to the research I've done, which led to the state becoming responsible for supporting the poor. But really what they were doing was punishing the poor.
Absolutely. You have to remember that you had the deserving and the undeserving poor, and you
Yeah.
weren't in.
If you're one of the undeserving, this is
Yes,
where you ended
and
up.
If your husband lost his job or
Yeah.
died, you had to think of the
Or you were
mortality rate.
disabled, or
you
you
were
had mental
disabled.
health.
You would come here, and then you would be separated from your children.
Yes.
At 7, the boys would go off on their own, even if they were twins with a girl. They never probably saw each other
So
again.
the children were put in the workhouses as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And someone said that this is one of the inspirations for Dickens's Oliver Twist.
Yes, that's,
Yeah.
he picked it. He was a social writer.
He was a social reformer, wasn't he?
Mm.
Yes, Dickens, yeah.
But imagine coming here.
Yeah,
I don't know which door they would have gone in, but
yeah.
you had nothing to bring with you.
No,
It was the last retort. You know,
they were put into uniforms.
They were
The
put in-
males and
yeah.
the women were segregated, weren't they?
absolutely. And the women would scrub the floors
Yes.
and do the laundry.
Yes.
And
Men would do the gardening,
yes,
and
it was very harsh.
Very harsh. yeah.
But in a way, it was almost social services today. It was the onset of social reform.
I'm just trying to think, if you were on welfare payments today and they
Oh, no.
offered you a place in a workhouse for 8 hours work a day,
Yes.
and I looked at some of the menus. What they got in the morning was
gosh.
bread and cheese,
Yes.
and if they're lucky, some broth.
Mm.
At the weekend, they had some vegetables.
Oh yes. But
Really?
and early apprenticed for the cotton mills were from the workhouse.
I was
They
going to
had
say it was
their
cheap
gruel,
labour, wasn't it?
They had their porridge in their hands.
Yes.
And they ate that and then went to work
Yeah.
in the mills.
It really is Dickensian, isn't it? In every
12 hours a day,
12 hours a day,
children.
children. Yeah. And of course, there's a lot of work around Tiverton area because of the industrial,
Yes.
Uh,
But it was more up north.
more up north. But there were workhouses a lot around here too. One in
yes.
Clumpton, one in Uffcombe. There's one in Crediton where I was born as well. In fact, when I was a boy, and you walk up the main street of Crediton, you could see them coming down from the workhouses in
Really?
groups. Yeah, and then it turned into a mental hospital as well. So
Often was
Yeah.
turned into hospitals of
Yeah.
some sort.
apparently it had its own infirmary here
Yes.
as well. So
But you had to be really poorly to be admitted to the hospital.
well, I guess it was again about infectious diseases, wasn't it?
Oh yes.
Because that was
yes.
the risk all the time.
Yes.
And the Black Death killed so many people.
Mm.
But they've done a lovely job of it. It really is fantastic now.
Ring a roses,
Yeah,
pocket full of posies.
posies
A tissue, we all
all down.
Nosebleeds were the common start of it.
Were they? That was one of the early symptoms of the
Yes.
Black Death. Okay.
It was terrible. Then you got the
Yeah.
yes.
No antibiotics in those days.
No.
Well, Stevie, we're going to go out through the gate,
Yes,
the
and
gatehouse, and then
at Water Street.
yeah, and because you get an idea when you go through the gatehouse
Yes.
how you were basically locked in at night.
Oh yes. You had to be locked in.
The only way you got out of the workhouse was if you were discharged
Yes.
into the employment of someone, right?
Yes.
That was the only way you got out. If you could prove that you could support yourself.
Yes. You had to prove without a doubt
Yeah.
that you could maintain yourself and you know.
Otherwise, you were incarcerated. Stevie's just saying hello to a friend who lives here. That's okay.
Rachel from Knights Hayes.
Okay, one of your fellow.
Members of staff.
Yeah, we've mentioned Knights Hayes a couple of times. Knights Hayes was built by Heathcote's grandson, wasn't it?
John.
And we're going to do a walk at Knights Hayes, but probably a little bit later in the
Yes.
year when it's a bit
more
warmer.
open.
And Stevie's going to do that with me as well, hopefully.
Yes.
So here's the gatehouse.
Imagine walking.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite daunting, isn't it?
It must have taken so much courage to admit that you were so poor.
Yeah. Looked down
And-
on by society. It
Yes.
just doesn't bear
And your
thinking about.
children would be with you,
Yeah.
hungry
Yes.
and crying,
Yes.
because they were taken away from their parents.
Yes. It's very, very hard
Yeah.
regime, no question. Very, very hard regime. And difficult to escape from, really. Once you're in the system, hard to escape.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're sort of getting to the end of the walk now, really. Just going to come back into the town through here.
Water Street. It must have been wet. Here.
Must have been wet.
Yeah.
They've just resurfaced this road recently. But,
Yes.
as you say, the theme of Tiverton is floods and fires, isn't it?
Yes. Oh yes, definitely. Floods and fires.
I'll get back the window in put forward tomorrow when it's raining. Yeah. Put the bolt on, then I'm out of there. Alright?
Okay. Well, at least until the spring anyway. Yeah.
But, yeah.
So if we go back down Bampton Street, Stevie, there's another school down there somewhere, isn't
Yes,
there?
Barrington Street.
Is that Barrington Street?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
There were so many schools
Yeah.
in Tiverton. When
Yeah.
you think of how big it was
Yes.
or wasn't,
Wasn't.
so many schools. So it again shows the wealth of the people who gave something to the
Who created the
town.
wealth in Tiverton
Yes.
and kept it in the town and benefited the local population.
yes. There's one down Chapel Street,
Yes.
and there's one down Barrington Street. We came up St Peter's Street.
Yes.
There's John Heathcote had one
In his factory. That's right.
and then it moved. You know, it was amazing really when you think of the population at the time, that they had so many schools. They were so forward.
So forward thinking, yes indeed.
I love these houses on the corner,
Yes.
which are round.
So they are.
Yeah,
Do you know, I didn't spot that. They are round with a
been-
round roof.
they were converted recently, done up.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Aren't they?
Yes,
Now that's a bit of a roofer's challenge, I should think, having a round roof like that.
both sides. This side as
Both
well.
sides, yeah. Yeah. So nice. And the stonework on that one's lovely, isn't it?
I think one was a shop down there. But you can see the shop windows, can't you?
Okay, yes, you can. Yes, that was a corner,
Yeah.
what do you call a corner shop?
Yeah.
Literally a corner shop, yeah.
And this modern building has been done the same.
Yeah, well again, if they took the rough scat off there, you'd see the exposed
Yes.
original brickwork, wouldn't you? Which would look a lot nicer than it is at the moment. But
And there was another, I think, there were shops here
yeah,
again.
it's kind of sad that we've got the decline of retail, haven't we?
Yes.
Not only in the main streets, but all these little corner shops that supplied
Yes.
the little local
The
communities
local
within, all gone.
community, yes.
It's a shame.
There was 2 shops there.
Yeah, indeed. So should we go down Bampton Street? Because there is a school down there, isn't there, on the right somewhere?
It's down
No? Go down Barrington?
there. Barrington Street.
Which would you prefer?
Well, there's
That's Barrington, isn't
yeah.
it?
If we go down Barrington
Okay.
Street and then go along to Bampton Street, because at the end of that road there's interesting buildings. Aren't
Okay, yes, let's do that then, fine.
there? Another pub down here,
Yes.
so you could roll from one to the other.
Yeah, what they call commonly a pub crawl, because
Yes.
by the time you got to the last pub, you would be crawling, would you?
I think it's down here, but I might be wrong.
No, I think it's on the left here.
It's on the left,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's private accommodation now.
No, I think it's still running as a pub. These are quite nice too, aren't
Yes.
they? These cottages on the right here.
No, you're right. The school is in Bampton
It
Street,
is, yeah, I think so.
but the barley mow.
This is the
Imagine
barley mow.
The barley mow. You see,
Yeah,
lovely old name, isn't
it is, it is.
Quite a small pub.
Yeah, I love the sign at the top there. Yeah, the classic, small
Yes.
town pub, isn't it? Really. These are lovely on the left here, aren't
Yes. These are.
they? Wow. Oh, what have we got here? Blagden's Charity. All right.
Destroyed by fire again.
Fire again. It's just that theme comes
Yes.
up all the time, doesn't it? Blagden's Charity, destroyed by fire
Yes.
and rebuilt. Anno Domini.
Again, lots of charities of different types.
Yeah, yeah. Publicly subscribed
Yes.
and charities and local.
Mm.
And this one's,
The trustees.
this is the trustees. Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Gent, and gent.
Yeah, the Gent family always had
Yeah.
quite a bit of money.
Tally.
I like the
Tally
old
Gent.
Esquire. They used to use the word
Yeah.
Esquire, didn't we? Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of lovely. And again, lovely.
But these were the original doors, but you have to go round the back apparently
Yeah.
now and go up them.
Yeah,
But,
oh, lovely.
and the little cottages again.
Yes,
Lovely little cottages.
aren't they nice? Yeah.
And a lovely alleyway. Lovely
Yes. Yeah.
With the wood.
Yeah.
There's lots of alleyways.
Well, there are lots of alleyways, aren't there? Yes, I noticed that.
Yeah.
They're all intriguing, but of course they're private, so you can't go in and explore them. So we're back to the kind of modern part of Tiverton. And what I've always liked about Tiverton is wherever you are, you can see the Ex-Valley hillside there,
Yes.
right down through the street.
Bronze Age settlement up on
On the top, yeah,
Exeter Hill.
yes. Bronze Age, yeah.
Yes, but you can't.
Where are we going now?
Bump.
Okay.
Bumped, actually, yes, but you can't go on it to fields there, unfortunately, because they're private
There's
land.
private land.
But it would have been a good in the Civil War as well. You have to remember that Tiverton, like so many towns, was modernised in the 60s and 70s.
60s and 70s, yes. Well,
Which destroyed a lot of beautiful architecture.
the post-Second World War architects got a lot of answering to do, haven't they? They put up some of the most ugliest buildings.
Yes.
They
Now
did.
they're listed.
No, they're listed. Yeah.
Come round the corner. And
Ah.
beautiful building here.
Let's get on the other side of the road here. It's quite a busy little corner. Right, so look at these. Now there's not much to tell you what these are, is there?
No.
But again, would they be merchants' buildings again, or houses?
I don't know. I don't know.
The history of these? No.
It's a beautiful building, but what I like is the door. The door.
Oh, this
is
door.
fascinating.
Yeah, we're getting.
I love the door.
Yeah.
The keyhole.
And the keyhole.
Look
Yeah.
at the little-
Yeah, little letterbox. Well, yeah, Stevie and I are definitely getting into doors, aren't we?
Doors.
Yeah, that's what you call a door,
Yes,
isn't it?
that's what you call
Yeah,
a door.
that's what you call a door. There's one last thing of interest up here somewhere.
There's another nice house here.
Oh, this one. Yeah. It's the brickwork, isn't it? Yeah, look at it.
Interesting doors, but
No. We'll pass on the doors for this one.
yes.
But yeah, it's
But again, the lovely brickwork over
the
the
brickwork's
door
fantastic, isn't it?
and the door frame.
Yeah. Yeah, and even that kind of grill there is
Yes,
kind
oh,
of
and look at the grills.
yeah,
Leading down to the cellars.
leading down to the cellars. Yeah, lovely house. Again, lots of little passageways, and courtyards, etc. Yeah, and here's a Devonshire term.
Yeah, beautiful.
If I can. Yer tis. Gonna say it like a Devonian. Yer tis. Number 76.
Like my sister-in-law's.
Right. Okay. This is probably our last building of interest. Wow. So what have we got here then, Stevie?
We've got another school building.
Another school building.
Caroline Ewing was the family were related to the Whitmore.
Were they? 1877.
1877.
Yeah. So it was a one-room school then, would it have been, or a couple of classrooms perhaps?
It was an endowment to the Tiverton School Board.
Right.
So it would obviously have been quite an important school
Yes.
in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
Um,
So the school itself would be probably on the first floor, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Upstairs? Yeah.
yes. Because you have to remember these sort of schools, the headmaster
Yeah.
living on the premises.
They would live on the premises, yeah.
And probably some of the teachers as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
He comes up and he
But
starts doing
it's a lovely building again.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's when you think John Heathcote built his school in
1844. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
33 years.
Ahead of his time. Yeah. 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 Well, I'd like to thank Stevie again for a wonderful tour. This is our second tour. It won't be the last time we'll work together, I'm sure. But for now, this is the end of our second walk around him. Many thanks to Stevie. I'm going to go and buy Stevie another bun.